Hi everyone. So, has it ever happened with you that in a defining moment in life, you wanted to speak up, but you stopped yourself? This is a question that has fascinated me. I am an executive coach, an organizational development professional, and a researcher at heart. And I believe that if the last decades were about getting a seat at the table, today it is more and more about getting our voice at the table and beyond. So my story started when I was 12. And would you believe it? I used to stammer. I was a shy and awkward child. I was bullied all the time. And one day, I, the stammerer, decided to raise my hand for a debate because the topic was very, very personal to me. And the topic was girls and boys are equal. So, see, why it was personal to me is because I felt I'm living in a paradox. At home, my parents would tell us, you can go out and accomplish anything. I was the eldest of three daughters, and I used to feel that, yes, I can accomplish anything. It doesn't matter if I'm a girl. But outside, it was a different story. Patriarchy, social norms, biases and equality, and micro inequities would hit us in various ways. For instance, something as simple as I go out and introduce myself, and I'm talking to someone, and I say, me and my sisters, and someone would say, oh, what about a brother? Or to my parents, oh, you don't have a son. As if not having a brother or a son in some way made us inferior, made us invalidated or lesser in the world order. So that 12-year-old me was deeply troubled by this, and I wrote a speech from my heart. And I practiced and practiced and practiced. And that day, I went on the stage, and one word at a time, I managed to deliver it. Well, I didn't get any prize. But then something magical happened. When I came down the stairs after delivering my speech, I saw people walking towards me. I saw students as well as faculty coming to me, hugging me, and people said in heartfelt voices that I told their story. That day I discovered that my voice has the power to change. By the age of 17, I had gone on to work with thousands of students as one of the youngest facilitators in a newspaper and education program run by one of the leading newspapers in India. In the last 2 decades, I've coached students, professionals, executives, managing directors. And my mission in life is to help people own their voice and tell their stories in their moments of authenticity, vulnerability, and conviction. I call it Own Your Imperfect Voice. Why imperfect, you ask? Imperfect because it does not need to be perfect to follow someone else's ideals of perfection as long as it stands for your convictions. It does not need to be curated, poised, or polished as long as it stands for who you are and your authentic self. Your imperfect voice is a leap of faith in that moment of courage between the known and the unknown. And today, I want to present a case that if we women want to get the opportunities, the growth, the promotion, and the pay we deserve, we need to own our imperfect voice. So I'm going to talk to you about some of my learnings, some of the challenges, and then I will also leave you with 3 takeaways to walk out with. My talk is focused on women, but I believe the men sitting here can also benefit from it because anyone who ever wanted to own their voice, this talk is for you. So let's look at some statistics. I want you to see where are we tracking. So according to data from HBR, women hold 40% of the workplace positions, but we only occupy about 24% of senior management roles. Now, where are all the talented women going? Research tells us that there are an array of reasons, from explicit discriminatory practices to implicit biases in promotional processes. But the most baffling of it is that women themselves do not put themselves forward for senior positions, for high visibility roles, or for promotions. Why don't we speak up? Why do we hold back? It's because we wait to get it right, isn't it? And we are judged. If we are loud, we are called aggressive. If we are soft, we are called submissive, and our voices are drowned. And women find it so easy, even in high-profile meetings, to take those roles which do not require them to take a stand, like facilitator, moderator, note taker, isn't it? So how do we find our voice? It's time to own it, right? Our imperfect voice. So let me show you these 3 glass boxes. In fact, I don't have to show you. They're with you right now. You look inside your backpacks or your purses, they're right now with you. These boxes have been handed over to us from generations to generations. They're gift wrapped, they look pretty, they have the ribbon of tradition on it. They are made of transparent glass and are almost invisible till you start speaking up, because in them are trapped our voices. So let me introduce them to you. I'm going to hold the first one. I think this comes tinted in pink and blue. I call it the goodness box. So I'm going to do this experiment, right? I'm going to say a few words, and I want you to think of the adjectives that come to mind. Ready? Good woman, good wife, good mother. Yeah? You thought of some things? Whatever you've thought of is a result of years of social psychological conditioning. Okay, let's try it once more. I'm going to describe 2 scenes, and you tell me which one is more normal. Okay? Ready? All right. Scene 1, woman cooking in a kitchen. Scene 2, a man cooking in a kitchen. All right. So many of us thought woman cooking in the kitchen. However, let me tell you something funny. If I use the word chef, yeah, possibly it's a man's image that comes to mind. Now, this is the goodness box, right? The pressure to be good is so big in our gendered roles. Do you know this box comes with 2 free gifts, guilt and shame? The pressure to be good is so much that sometimes when there is a conflict between things we want to do, our aspirational voices, and to be good in these gendered roles, we chose to stay silent. Let me introduce you to the second box. Wait until you're ready. So has it happened with you that you wanted to raise your hand for an opportunity? You wanted to say, I want to do this. I am good. I really want that big jump, that promotion, that project. And that inner voice, it suddenly came in and it said, wait. But you're not ready yet. But you don't have the skills yet. But you don't have the experience yet. But you're too young. But you're too old. And while you were waiting, someone else came, spoke up, and took the opportunity. Isn't it? When we don't give ourselves the benefit of doubt, when we are harder on ourselves, and when we don't take the leap of faith, why would someone else? Now, let me introduce you to the third. Try to hold it. It's really heavy. It's so heavy that it chokes our voices. Think about a committee in your institution. Traditionally, only men have been there, and there are 10 seats. Now, 2 women have made it. Now tell me, how likely are these 2 women to take a stand? Not just on women's issues, but on generic mainstream issues. So think about it. I've heard this from the women I've coached. I've heard women say, I'm so thankful to be selected for this leadership position. I'm the only woman to be selected. I'm so thankful my family is okay for me to work. I'm so thankful I'm retained after my maternity leave. You know, this is a hug and a punch. And I've fallen guilty to this trap. Because we are over-indexing on thankfulness. Because there's a whole narrative going on out there that you are diversity. Come on, if we are 40% of the workforce, if we are 50% of humanity, it's time we stop feeling like diversity. And I'm not discounting gratitude. I'm not saying not to be grateful for learning, for mentorship, for allyship, for someone investing in you. All I'm saying is let's not over-index on being thankful, which stops us or makes our voices milder when we want to take a stand as equal decision partners. So if these are the three boxes, and we want to break that glass ceiling over there, let's start by first smashing these inside our heads. Are you ready?
Yes.
So I'm going to tell you a few ideas. And the first idea is actually closest to what you've heard before, which is I am. And this is to find your I, your identity. So how do you find your identity? You know, I've asked this question many times to many people, and I've said, so who are you, really? Who are you? And I've got this kind of a moment. So let me tell you my story. So when I moved from academics to corporate, I had this dream role as head of learning for a pan-India organization, and I was super excited about it. And a month later, I discovered I was expecting. I was so conflicted. And everyone around me said, just leave your job. And by the way, this was the baby that I was waiting and praying for so many years, with the doctors telling me that it's not going to be possible. So the goodness box, the good mother box was pulling me, and I asked myself this question. So who am I? And I felt that I want to be the best mother possible. But at the same time, I also wanted to be the best professional possible in my field, but I am bigger than both of these. So that day, when I walked into my manager's cabin, I was not apologetic. I looked him into the eye, and I remember saying, you know, I understand this may not look ideal to you, but I want you to trust me. I have a vision for this team, and I know I have to change the way I will work with the team, but nothing has changed in my passion and commitment for this role, and I will show you and I'll make it happen. That day and today, I will never look back in my career. But moment of truth, when my daughter was 8, I told her the story, and I said, that day, if you were able to speak, what would you have advised? And you know what she said? She said, Mama, I wouldn't have changed a thing. That day, she was the hero of the story as much as I was and my manager was. Let me move you to the second box. The second box, which is the wait till you are ready, and I give you the power of yet. So every time you feel that you haven't really got the readiness, I want you to acquire this beautiful word and mindset called yet. So imagine a movie where the protagonist is beaten and you feel, oh my God, nothing is going to change. And then suddenly from the corner of your eye, you notice 12 more minutes to go. Oh, the movie is not over yet. Yet. So think about it. Next time that voice comes up, say, I'm not ready yet. I'm not skilled yet. I'm not experienced yet. That means you're going to take a leap of faith in yourself. And for all you know, the cure for cancer, the next big idea for world peace, and the next big invention to reverse climate change can come from someone's imperfect voice, and that voice is yours. So with this, let me move to the final one. Tell your story. If we want to change the social narrative, we have to own and tell our stories. So I was coaching this senior executive. She was the head of product. She had taken on this big role. This was many years back. I was working in a tech firm which was growing and expanding. And she was preparing for her first town hall. So I walked in to meet her, and she looked very irritated. She said, I'm looking for jokes for my speech. I said, what happened? And she said, you know, I'm constantly compared to my predecessor. This person had a booming voice. This person was the life of a party. But I'm different. And I've been told that I don't have leadership presence. And I have a vision for this team. I've been hired to transform them. But I need them to believe in me. So that day I asked her, okay, what do they need to know about you to believe in you? So she told me her story. She told me how she had beaten all odds. At the end of it, I saw a shift in her energy, and she said, I have never been asked this question. And I've never asked myself this question. I don't need the jokes. So that day, she went out, she spoke and owned her story. Because leadership presence does not come in one flavor only. But friends, life is not a movie. It's not like you will go out there and say one dialogue or one speech or one power moment and everybody will have a change of heart. Life is about rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat, because every time you do that, you are shaping someone else's mental models. And trust me, every story is unique and every story is valid. I know of women who work for passion, and I know of women who work to put food on the table. I know of women who work because they love their jobs, and I know of women who work but they hate their jobs. I know of women who have grown big in their careers with supportive families, and I know of women who did not have a family for their careers. I know of women who become influencers at the age of 16, and I know of women who have become entrepreneurs at the age of 60, and I know of women who are mothers and don't like to cook, and I know of CEOs who don't like spreadsheets, and I know of women who do not ever believe in making to the Forbes list, but they have grown beautiful families and nurtured the values of equality and humanity. Each story is valid. So, my dear friends, today, release your voice. Own your imperfect voice. Go out there, find your identity, discover your yet, and tell your story, because that voice, that imperfect voice, has the power to change the world. Thank you.